Ulty's down below that $6 range, and I decided to pick some shares up. We'll go over that and get an update on MSTY. Hello my friends, this is Legend. So, I finally did it. I finally bought some shares of Ulty. It was down below that $6, and I had a buy limit order put in, and we will look at that and we will see when that got executed. So let's just go ahead and jump right over to the Webull chart and check it out. Alright, so here we are on the Webull chart, and you can see we have Ulty pulled up right now. Now this is a new one for me. This is my first little taste of Ulty. I did purchase 25 shares, and that actually got executed after hours on Friday. I had put in a $5.90 limit buy order, and it was hanging around there around that $5.89 to $5.90 to $5.92 area, and it just would not go through. So I figured it just wasn't going to go through that day, but it actually ended up going through later on Friday. So I ended up picking up 25 shares at $5.90, which is of course where it actually closed at today. So I'm just flat, right? I haven't made anything, haven't lost anything. But one of the reasons why I did go ahead and get that, number one, it's down. Number two, it is on the bottom half of that Bollinger Band, and that RSI 2 was down almost to that 10, right? Very, very close. So I put an order at $5.90, and it ended up going through Friday evening. Now, as you can see here, this is my trading platform, and I do have another buy here, and I put it in at $5.75. Not sure if we'll get that low, but if we did, I wanted 25 more shares, right? Now I'm hoping Ulty can hang out here around this price and eventually move back on up and get back up to that $6 range. I think that's where it's going to be safe at. If it keeps coming down, that could start affecting some of the distributions. Now I know Ulty has been pretty steady at that 10 cents, right? I mean, we've had 10 cents for quite a while. It's been paying out that 10 cents. Now, if this keeps on coming down and that price keeps coming down, it's very possible that that distribution could also come down just ever so slightly, right? And that all has to do with their trades, right? If their trades are going against them, it is what it is, and they only can pay out what they make. But I definitely don't want Ulty to go too low, as that will also affect those distribution rates, right? So I do have a buy here at a pretty low price, but it's more along those lines that if it would just happen to fall down, trigger it and then jump back up, right? So it's more of one of those catch it on a quick dip. So if it does hit it, then fine. And I may put one at about $5.80, right? Because that would put it right below that Bollinger Band, because the bottom of the Bollinger Band right now is at $5.84. And I'm thinking that would probably push this RSI 2 probably right down below that 10. So for me, that would be possibly a good buy. Now after hours, we are up, but again, that is after hours. So take that with a grain of salt for sure, right? Here's my buy order. That's my 25 shares at that $5.90. So I just wanted to let everybody know I am now in Ulty, right along with the majority of you. So I have dipped my toe into it, and now I have 25 shares, and I'll be looking to probably put another order for 25 more around that $5.80, just to see if it can come down and pick me up, as I don't mind reducing my overall average, right? If it's going to dip, I'd like to pick it up, right? But we will find out what Ulty is going to pay out on Wednesday. So while we're looking at the charts, let's just go ahead and check out MSTY. And here we are on MSTY. Now, of course, you can see, looks like we're just on a downward trend, right? And that does upset a lot of people, and it is adding a little fear, right? And that's understandable. Now, we are looking at the adjusted chart, and if I flip that over to the actual chart, we can see what those candles actually look like, right? And there we go. It is dropping on down, as you can see. We had that support line right here at the bottom of that red candle, and it was coming down and sitting on it. Well, it looks like we did come down below it and then tried to come up, and now we're sitting on the bottom of it, right? Pretty much. So now we have to worry about it becoming more of a resistance line than a support line. But right now, it is not confirmed because number one, it's a green candle, and number two, it is running through that line. So right now, we still have this 1784 as a support line. But flipping it back to the adjusted chart here, you can see we did get that rejection right here of that crossover on the MACD and started coming down, right? That is, of course, a negative sign, right? That this could be coming on down slightly because we are getting a little bit more separation. We are gaining a little bit more on that red momentum bars. And you can see that the RSI2 is down below 10. I did try to put an order in to purchase a few more shares of MSTY, and I had a buy price at about that 1759 right there when it had dropped down to close to that 1757, but it just never did come back down to that 1759 area, and therefore that order just canceled out at the end of the day. That's why you do not see that order here. I only had it good for the day. I did not have it good till cancel. So the only things that are showing right here, of course, is my $19 put and my $25 call. But with MSTY sitting at 1785, pretty flat for the day, right? It pretty much closed today where it closed on Friday. So overall, pretty flat, right? It did have a lot of movement up and down, but it ended up closing where it closed at on Friday. So hopefully we can get this back up above and we can start moving this up a little bit. Bitcoin did have a drop today, which that did affect a lot of these stocks, right? And speaking of one that got affected by Bitcoin, that would be MSTR. And here we are on MSTR. Now, MSTR had a drop today as well, and I was able to pick up a couple shares on MSTR. I ended up picking up 2 more shares of MSTR at $358.25. So I think I got pretty dang close to that bottom right there. Looks like the bottom was $358.01, and I was able to pick them up at $358.25. That brought my average down to about $368.06, and that gives me 8 shares at that price. So I'm pretty happy with that move, and that did bring that average down. But let's take a look at Bitcoin, because that's the one that fell out today and caused all of this commotion. And here we are on Bitcoin, and you can see over the weekend it had been dropping, right? And here's today's candle, and we had that fall down to close to 114.7K, right? Because that is our next support line, is at that 114.7K. And you can see that today we got as low as 114.7K. So it got down to our support line there, and it is still respecting that support line so far. Now, I'm hoping that we can keep that support line and we can bounce off of that and we can start turning this thing back around and moving it back on up, but it's still a bit too early to tell. Now, Bitcoin is moving back up slightly as we're at 115.8 now, and then hopefully we can get back up here to this 117.7. But I am glad that it did respect that 114.7 right here, because if it does drop below that one, we could be moving down to the 111 and 112 area right here. But if Bitcoin is coming down, that's going to bring MSTY and MSTR on down with it, right? And that's unfortunate, but that's just part of the game. I'm still bullish on it, so I'm not really too worried about it, right? Over the long term, for me, I'll be okay. It might be a little painful short term, but I'm not in it for the short term, right? I'm in it for the long term. And that's why I'm still trying to buy more MSTY, and I am buying more MSTR. And just to prove that I did buy those 2 shares of MSTR, you can see it right here, and it was filled today, right? And there's the price that it was filled at. As I said, $358.25. 2 shares at that limit price. And it did fill. And you can also see the other ones that I did get filled today as well, as my Visa did hit its stop. So I got kicked out of Visa at a profit. And then my Yeti here that I am in. And this is more of a monthly deal for me on Yeti. But I did end up buying another 100 shares of Yeti as well. That's just a couple other things that I'm working on as well. So anyway, I did just want to announce that I am now part of Ulty. And yes, I only have 25 shares to start off, but I am going to be putting in some more purchase buys, right? If it's going to keep coming down a little. Because Ulty is a bit more diverse since it has other funds in it. So the price I'm not too worried about at the moment. But just to give you an idea of what the price movement of those candles actually look like, because we are looking at the adjusted chart. So it looks like it's moving up, but that's the adjusted chart. It takes into account and readjusts per those distributions, right? But if I flip it over to that actual chart, this will show you what it actually looks like, right? And we can actually just show it right here. As you can see, it's been pretty flat for the most part, but it has started dipping back down as of late. And that's why I am buying back in hopes that we can come back up and get back into this happy zone around that $6 range. So anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, smash the like button, it'd be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, Legend out.